Hello and welcome to DJFonts tutorials. Today we're going to take a look at one of our new juicer plugins called ColorFlipFlop. And to start, I'm going to quickly show you how to install the plugin. When you purchase the product, you'll get an email with a link and a activation code. You can download from that link and double click on your file and Juicer will start up and the installation process will begin. Or if Juicer 3 is already open, you can just come here to the file menu and come down to the plugins option, install a new plugin, and then go choose your file where you downloaded it and open. Then you'll enter your email and your activation code. Now I've entered my activation code, and the next step is to agree to the license agreement, continue, and your installation will begin. Press next, and I'm going to turn off this option, but if you want to launch the user guide for ColorFlipFlop, you can select that option. That's a PDF file which will open automatically if you have that checked. Press done, and your ColorFlipFlop plugin is now installed in the juicer. So let's go ahead and enter a text layout that I've already started, and we're going to look at how the ColorFlipFlop plugin works. The font I'm using here is a custom font that I created using the water spill font, which is going to be released with the collection 4 of DJFonts, and that should be out any day if it isn't already by the time you watch this tutorial. Unlike some of our other plugins, which appear over here in the Format text panel, ColorFlipFlop is actually an effect that you apply to a layer. In order to change the colors of this text block, I'm going to apply this effect to the bottom wax base, which is the source of most of the color in this font. Now that doesn't mean you can't apply it to other layers as well, but for this example I'm going to apply it to this layer to give you the best example. And when I click on the Effects button, down here at the bottom, Plugins, ColorFlipFlop is where you will find the ColorFlipFlop plugin. And when you first apply it, what you see is a color table with color swatches that you can click and define new colors for. You'll also see that the effect is being applied with a simple colorize. You can also change that to a solid fill. The fill will replace the current contents of that layer completely with that color as a solid fill. If you select simple colorize, it's going to colorize the current contents. So if you had a texture already applied on that layer, it would colorize that texture. If you have a color already on that layer, it's going to colorize that color. So it's going to add to that color. So for the purposes of what I'm going to show you, I'm going to set that to fill, because I don't have a texture, so I want pure color. Now, my color table here has numbers on each swatch, and that's so that you can define which letter each of these colors is going to be assigned to. And to do that, you come down here to the flip-flop type. And this is a series of numbers which you can define. So if I know, for example, that I want the word color to all have just one color, I want it to be in this blue, then I can select 66666, which is 5 letters in the color blue. And then I want flip to be this red and this yellow. So I'm going to say 3535. And then for the bottom flop, I'm going to do that again in the 6, which is the blue. So I'll say 6666, and then I press enter, and you see we've got the colors applied to our layout in that number pattern. Now that's using a per glyph flip-flop order, which means you're acting on each letter, giving it a specific color. You can also change that to per word, and what that does is it defines the color for each word in this number pattern. So I need to change that here. Let's say I say 1, 2, 3, then it's going to apply color number 1 to the first word, color number 2 to the second word, and color number 3 to the third word, and so on. Now you may find that you use the per word flip-flop order more than you use the per glyph on a day-to-day basis, but both options have their applications. Now if what you're looking for is a fun combination of the colors that you've chosen in your color table, and you don't have any specific letters that you want each color to be on, you can use the randomize function. And for the flip-flop type, you come down here and choose random, and then you can just set a random seed value using this slider bar here, and you can do that on a per word or a per glyph basis. So your colors will change randomly for each letter. Now let's look at the color table a little more closely. There are a number of preset color tables that will come with the plugin, but you can also save your own color tables. So if you have a color combination that you've defined and you want to save it for the future to use on other projects, you can click on this icon here and give it a name, and it will save that color table so that when you go to browse, that color table is now available for other projects. Now it doesn't only save the actual colors, it saves the settings that you've set for those colors for this project. If the flip-flop effect is fill, it will save that. Per glyph or per word, it will save that, and so on, and the number combination that you've defined for it here. When working in the color table here, you can click on a swatch and drag it to switch the order of the colors in your table. So clicking the blue onto the red will switch their positions in the table. You can also press the Shift key and drag one color onto another to copy it onto that destination color. You can also do some of these functions using the right mouse button. You can copy one color and then paste it onto another. You can click Set Color, which is the same as just clicking on the swatch. You can also clear that swatch. So that means that that swatch has no color, and if you define number 6 in your flip-flop type, so let's say we said 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then anywhere that said 6 will be in the original color of that layer, which is that bright red. Now that's especially useful when you've got textures applied to your layers and you want the texture only to show up in certain letters. I'll be going into some of these techniques a little more in depth in an upcoming tutorial where I'll show you this plugin in use in a project. And as you can probably see, this can get quite complex if you are using the flip-flop plugin on a number of different layers in the font. So sometimes you're using it to colorize a texture, other times you're using it to color a base, and those things get layered on top of one another and can give you all kinds of different combinations. So don't be afraid to get in there and start playing with your colors in the color table, doing things like adding texture fill. If I add this texture fill here to this text layout, at first you see it has no effect, but if I then go and change my color flip-flop to simple colorize, it starts to colorize my text layout letters. And if I then go in and browse for a different library, you'll see that the texture is still there, but it's being colorized by a different set of colors. And it's using a different number code combination. All of these things you can change very easily to customize your text layout. I'll turn that texture layer back off and change my number codes again, and I've got a different look. There's so many different ways to customize your colors now that the only limitation is really going to be what you can imagine. So until next time, I'm Jackie Dawson, and these are DJ Fonts tutorials.